of Inquiry rules Israel has committed genocide in Gaza. Gunmen kill Nigerian customs officer, loot food items in Kebbi State. PDP warns INEC against BVAS glitches in 2027, and Buba Galadima raises alarm over planned INEC chairman appointment. Details now. Thank you for staying tuned. World News at 12 begins outside Nigeria, where the United Nations Commission of Inquiry says Israel has committed a genocide against Palestinians in Gaza. A new report says there are reasonable grounds to conclude that 4 of the 5 genocidal acts defined under international law have been carried out since the start of the war with Hamas in 2023, including killing members of a group, causing them serious bodily and mental harm, deliberately inflicting conditions calculated to destroy the group, and preventing births. A side statement by Israeli leaders and the pattern of conduct by Israeli forces as evidence of genocidal intent. Israel's foreign ministry said it categorically rejected the report, denouncing it as distorted and false. It accused the 3 experts in the commission of serving as Hamas proxies and relying entirely on Hamas falsehoods, laundered and repeated by others that had already been thoroughly debunked. Back home in Nigeria, an unidentified customs officer stationed at the Fingila checkpoint in Dandi local government area of Kebbi State was tragically shot dead by suspected gunmen on Monday. A resident of Fingila village, Malam Abdul Rashid, told reporters that the attackers had earlier invaded nearby farms where they harassed farmers, seized food items, and even compelled some to eat portions of their own meals before carting away the rest. He added that about 7 of the attackers, armed with heavy weapons and riding on motorcycles, later advanced towards the main road. There, they came across the customs officers sitting near a mosque and shot him dead. The first gunshot reportedly missed its target, but the second struck the officer as he tried to flee into a nearby maize field. A third bullet fatally hit him inside the field. 2 other officers who were not exposed during the assault managed to escape by crawling through the maize plants, though they were said to have sustained minor injuries. According to residents, the slain officer was believed to be from Maiduguri in Borno State and was known for regularly sitting near the mosque. As of press time, the Nigeria Customs Service in Kebbi State had not released an official statement on the incident. Ahead of the 2027 general elections, the People's Democratic Party (PDP) has warned the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) against giving any excuses of technical glitches. This is as the party called for strict implementation of the legal framework mandating the electronic transmission of election results. It warned that it would resist any attempt to manipulate the process or undermine the will of Nigerians. Section 64, subsection 4, 5, and 6 of the Electoral Act 2022 provide for recording and transmission of election results directly from polling units using the smart card reader or any other electronic device determined by the Electoral Commission. You will recall that INEC said electronic transmission of the presidential election results in 2023 suffered glitches which made it unable to transmit the results in real time. The National Publicity Secretary of the PDP, Debo Ologunagba, at a press briefing on Monday, said the party was deeply concerned about what he described as institutional manipulation of past elections. Ologunagba insisted that INEC must ensure that results are transmitted directly from polling units in real time. He added that the technology and infrastructure already exist to ensure seamless electronic transmission of results and accused INEC of failing to fully deploy them during previous elections. The new Nigeria People's Party (NNPP) chieftain Buba Galadima has raised serious concerns that the purported plan by President Tinubu's administration to appoint a retired judge with a notorious reputation as chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), saying this could push the country towards civil unrest. Galadima spoke during a television interview on Monday, calling for vigilance amongst Nigerians and emphasizing that the nation cannot allow individuals with questionable reputations to lead the electoral body. The NNPP stalwart also criticized the current leadership of INEC, alleging that the electoral body body has already been compromised in favor of the ruling party. Galadima warned that such developments pose a direct threat to the credibility of Nigeria's electoral system and could have dire consequences if the alleged plan proceeds. Let's take a listen to Buba Galadima speaking on this particular situation.
Exhausted, they will be dismembered. Especially come November, there is rumors all over the place that this government is nominating a just retired Court of Appeal judge who is known for notoriety to be the chairman of INEC. I wish it is not true, because if that man becomes the chairman of INEC, be rest assured that this government is inviting a civil war in this country.
We hope not. That's a very serious statement to make. Civil war in the country.
Yes.
We've not gone through the one we went through.
That was Buba Galadima, a chieftain of the New Nigeria People's Party (NNPP), speaking on the purported appointment of an INEC chairman by the president. Now, the All Progressives Congress in Rivers State is wooing the Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara to its fold ahead of the planned reinstatement ceremony. The reinstated Rivers APC spokesman Darlington Nwuju extended an open invitation to Governor Fubara when he appeared as a guest on television today. When asked if Fubara would be the Rivers APC leader should he join the party, Nwuju replied in the affirmative. Meanwhile, the chairman of the Rivers State chapter of the African Democratic Congress (ADC), leader Samson, has claimed there is no true reconciliation between the suspended governor of the state, Sim Fubara, and Minister of the Federal Capital Territory (FCT), Nyesom Wike. In an interview with journalists, the ADC leader said that the political crisis in the state may continue and even get worse after Governor Fubara's return. According to the ADC chieftain, the crisis in Rivers State was politically motivated, and there is a tendency that one individual will continue to insist on what happens in the state. Samson also called on the sole administrator, Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas, to account for how he spent Rivers people's money within 6 months of the emergency rule. You are still listening to the World News at 12 right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. We'll take a short break and return with more stories and the news analysis segment. Do stay tuned. Welcome back. Dr. Nentawe Yowatda continues to hold two positions simultaneously, serving as both the national chairman of the All Progressives Congress (APC) and the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction. Yowatda, who was a former resident electoral commissioner with INEC, was appointed APC chairman on July 24. He replaced Abdullahi Ganduje, who resigned on health grounds. Unlike standard practice, ministers who take on partisan leadership roles usually resign from their cabinet posts, but Yowatda is yet to do so. Party sources revealed that while several key stakeholders are lobbying for a replacement at the ministry, Yowatda seems determined to combine both responsibilities. Additionally, President Bola Tinubu has not named a successor for the Humanitarian Affairs Ministry since Yowatda was appointed APC chairman. Meanwhile, legal experts warn that Yowatda's due role violates the principle of separation between party administration and the public office. Now joining me to discuss issues on the World News at 12 today, I have Mr. Dele Fanimo. He's a veteran reporter, says he's not a journalist, but he's a political affairs analyst. Always a pleasure to have you here, Mr. Fanimo. Good afternoon.
That will be explained later. Good afternoon.
How are you doing, sir? So good to finally to see you again.
Well, I'm trying to cope.
If you
with
don't
Nigeria.
know, Mr. Fanimo went on leave and he came back shining. So it's obvious you've been well taken care of. So
maybe somebody used very expensive cream.
So
on
if
me.
you go off on leave next time, I won't even fault you. Welcome to the conversation, sir. Let's begin with the APC chairman holding dual roles in the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction. Now, many Nigerians have pointed out that this ministry was just to be headed by women, and then it's being headed by a man, and now he's the APC chairman, and now he doesn't even want to resign. How can he combine these two roles in a very short while so that we can talk about other things?
For me, I would have expected that the office of the chairman of a party is a whole lot for an individual. Now you are now combining a ministerial slot with the office of the chairman. Perhaps, maybe, as they say, the process of handing over had not been concluded, and so that's why he's also trying to wind down in the ministry and also waiting for the erstwhile chairman of the party, His Excellency Ganduje, to do the proper handing over notes and hand over to him properly. But then there's no way one will not suffer. If he has to tilt towards chairmanship of the party, the ministry's activity will suffer, because a chairman of a party is not just a static person. He's supposed to be a nomad by nature. He's supposed to attend to party issues wherever and whenever those issues arise. So for me, and the humanitarian ministry is also very important, because ordinarily that office should by now be developing robust technology that will capture Nigerians instead of all these facade palliatives. We are rich enough to have social security in this country. We have people who are able, willing, and capable of working are still roaming the streets. If you are giving them 50,000 naira every month, and there's a database through which you will know as soon as someone gets a job and would also exit that platform, we should have that by now. It would mitigate all these cries of hunger that the government will announce. We have reached out to 1 million people with maybe 50,000 or 20,000 or whatever, and
you won't even be able to get 50 people that will tell you that they received this money.
So the best thing is, let somebody who is technologically savvy, who has wide experience in initiating such process, let that person handle that ministry, rather than, because my own impression from what I gather from Nigerians is that that place is like a younger brother to NNPC.
The Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs?
Yes.
How? Aren't these like parallel lines?
Except if this man comes out of that ministry and there is no tar in his body, that's when I would probably have a rethink. I've not seen anybody handling that ministry since it was created that came out unscathed. And that means it was almost looking like a special purpose vehicle, SPV.
For what?
For corruption. Better it didn't last how many months when the whole thing blew on her. And up till now, we have not even heard anything about that case. Our predecessor also had the same problem. So Yota, let's wait for him when he leaves that office. Maybe he's trying to clear his table. Let's see how it goes.
All right, then let's quickly talk about NNPP chieftain Buba Galadima raising alarm over the planned appointment of someone who he says, the planned appointment of an INEC chairman. He says that the person that the presidency or this administration has in mind to appoint is a former judge of the appeal court, someone who just retired, and someone who's known for their notoriety. And if the president appoints that particular person, it might be a recipe for civil war. A number of questions actually, but I'll start with, why is it that we are so quick in this country to just throw in words, to throw around words like war, oh, this will cause a war and that will cause a war, seeing as Nigeria has gone through a civil war before, and we could see how that affected us. Also, one can understand why the opposition parties are very particular about who becomes the INEC chairman, because that may determine their fate during the elections, even though the way Nigerians vote are supposed to determine the fate of any political party or any political aspirant.
You see, for me, I know Buba Galadima very well. I've been to his house in Abuja on a number of occasions. You see, if he's saying this, he may have reason to say that. One, he was very close to Buhari. But as soon as Buhari became head of state, president, they fell apart. Until the end of Buhari's tenure, he was always antagonistic of that government. So maybe this current government has inherited what he did to Buhari. But talking seriously, it is mandatory that Yakubu had to quit by next month.
He's not quitting. It's just his tenure has elapsed and he's leaving.
I said he has to quit because he has only 2 terms.
No, when you say quit, it makes it sound like, he's tired of the job and he's leaving.
You know why I said quit? I used my word advisedly. The impression out there is that he's going to be sacked. But he will not be sacked, but he will leave out his term, the 2 terms, which would lapse by next month. And up until now, there is no process other than appointment with ratification from the Senate, who becomes the next INEC chairman.
And you know that whatever the president takes to the Senate will most likely be approved.
You know what I can tell? There could be a change of mind this time.
From where? From the Akpabio Senate?
Yes. You never can tell.
Well, he did say that whatever you bring, we will sign it. Whatever you bring, we will pass it.
You see, one thing about Nigeria, I've lived long enough in Nigeria to believe anything and to disbelieve anything. Nigeria is a place where what to consider. Let me give you an example. Who would ever consider Buhari and Tinubu working together until 2014? In fact, Obasanjo was said to have asked Buhari, calling him aside, said, "What are you doing with this man?" That's the way it is. So, for me, Buba Galadima has made a statement, and it talks at the heart of who becomes the next INEC chairman. But one thing I want you to know here is that we will not find a saint on that seat.
On the seat of the INEC chairman?
Yes, we will not find, because there are no saints in Nigeria.
You know, my second question was on the concern of the opposition with who becomes the chairman of INEC in 2027, or before 2027 actually, because like as it's supposed to be, the votes are meant to determine who becomes who gets into political office in Nigeria. But many Nigerians and many political elites and many politicians themselves believe that it rests in the hands of whoever is the INEC chairman, the INEC officials, and that they always work with the ruling party. About 5 years ago, Galadima also came out to say that, look, INEC are just errand boys of the ruling government. Whatever government is in power, the Independent National Electoral Commission, or the chairman of that commission as at the time that government is in power, is just an errand vehicle for the ruling government. Do you agree with that?
You see, let me tell you, whether we like it or not, it is not the chairman that is the problem. And each time we look at who becomes chairman of INEC, the man cannot be everywhere. The man cannot unilaterally change the system. He cannot on his own change the electoral law. We should be concerned about the system, about the process. We should be more concerned. Now we're talking about BVA, BVAS. We're talking of IREF. The last election, there was this hues and cry that no, they should cancel votes where the BVAS and IRF couldn't work. But INEC came out to say, look, these are just operational tools. That if I decide to use spanner instead of plier to fix certain things in my vehicle, it is still my prerogative. If I decide not to even use at all, and I take it to a garage for improved technology, it is still my right to do it.
You know, we'll still get to that
what
conversation.
What I would have expected from opposition this time around is that they should lobby the National Assembly to amend that section of the electoral law and make it compulsory for INEC to use BVAS or IREF, failing which election conducted where there is no functional beavers and IREF should be nullified.
All of this is to make rigging difficult. But we've seen that there are different ways that rigging is done. There is voter intimidation, there is violence, there's threat of violence, there is attacks, there is a whole lot that goes into rigging. But let's continue on this conversation of the NNPP before we talk about the PDP saying that there must be no BVAS glitches in 2027. They don't want to hear any story from INEC at all. With the way Buba Galadima is talking, you think NNPP was the main opposition party in Nigeria right now in the face of the ADC opposition coalition, which Buba Galadima does not believe in, by the way. He says the coalition will collapse before 2027. We have the Labour Party as well. We have the PDP, which has its own issues as well. Is the NNPP really a viable opposition to the APC, or is the best bet for Kwankwaso and the Kwankwasiya movement to align with the APC?
Let me tell you, NNPP has been led by Kwankwaso and other opposition parties. We don't even know the direction they are taking now. The impression is that Kwankwaso is being touted to become the vice president, presidential candidate for APC in the next election, and automatically, if that happens, that means it's going to take a large chunk of NNPP to APC. Labour Party is neither here nor there. PDP is still finding its compass. So this array of forces, ADC, now they are not even comfortable with ADC. They are looking up to ADA that is yet to be registered. They are pushing for ADA registration, and simply because nobody is sure that ADC would be able to navigate through all this landmine that had been positioned on their way, which includes all these litigations by those founding members of ADC against latter day usurpers, as they call them. So in all of this, what that tells me is that there's so much work to be done. Except this work is done collectively with some level of concession and compromise. We may be heading towards a weak splinter group of politicians against a formidable whole of the incumbent.
All right, then let's talk about the PDP saying they don't want to hear anything in 2027. Is it our that's that's what the PDP is saying ahead of 2027. Say, INEC, you need to put your house in order before that time. They say they don't want to hear that BVAS is not working, IREV is not working, or smart card reader is not working. They're also saying that we use, there is POS machines are everywhere right now, and we use them all the time. We know that sometimes there can be network issues, but if POS can have network 23 out of 24 hours in a day, that INEC has no excuse. Earlier when you were speaking, you talked about how INEC said the last time in 2023 that, well, these are just operational guidelines. It's not like this is a law. That's the same thing that INEC is saying for people who are who are engaged in premature campaigns, which from what we've seen is mostly the APC. That there are no sanctions for people who engage in premature campaigns. So all of these loopholes in the Electoral Act, how can it be plugged before 2027?
You see, those who make those laws, they were conscious of the fact that it's just like you want to set a trap. In the dark, would you have wanted to place that trap on the entrance to your house? No. Because if you are caught in the web of that trap, you may not have anybody to save you. So what you will do essentially is to keep it away from where you pass every day, so that you can be immune. And that is what some of these legislators are doing. They know the right thing, but because Nigerians are so docile, we don't goad them to do the right thing. And so they have perfected their act. Is it not bribe? Is it not making life a little bit comfortable during the election? We would always go there and give them whatever they want for election and then come back, spend another 4 years. So what we are saying is legislators, except we force them to do it, they will never do things that will make Nigerians happy. And when you don't make Nigerians
except
happy,
we force them, isn't that the reason why they were voted for in the first place? Isn't that the reason why they are occupying representative positions for Nigerians?
if you send somebody on an errand and that person fails to deliver, perhaps to time, won't you have reason to query that person? We have always been kind of lackadaisical about our lives, and yet we come back to complain. We do more of complaining than action. That House of Rep member didn't fall from heaven. It came from a constituency. The senator didn't fall from heaven. He came from a senatorial district. What are those people doing to ensure that what he is supposed to do in the Senate or House of Rep is what he's doing? I know some constituencies where their House of Rep member, for the duration of 4 years, may not even come to the community more than twice.
And what do you expect the people to do in such a situation?
You threaten with a recall and start the process.
For some people who know that it wasn't the votes of the people that put them there, but rather maybe the influence of a godfather or the fact that they are with a party that knows how to pull the strings, will the threat of recall work?
You see, I'm an apostle of start it before you condemn it. Let us start the process. At least, even if it's just to jolt that person to reality, that look, we have this power. The same voter card, we can use it to make sure that you are out of this place. It's a starting point in changing the narrative. It's a starting point. We need to hold our public office holders to account, not just waiting for them. Somebody who went to the Senate so lean and then coming out of the Senate so fat. You should know that the transformation between being lean and fat took some processes. And then when you have such process in place and there is nobody to challenge you in your plan to make yourself robust, either physically or in your account or property acquired, then you have that courage to go on. You want to go on. And most of these politicians, they go on.
Let's go to Rivers State, where the ruling APC is trying to woo Governor Buba over to their side as the emergency rule is ending in about 2 days. The APC Rivers spokesman is saying that there is an open invitation for Buba to join the ruling party. He says if Buba is to join the party, he will become the leader of the party in the state. With the ending of these emergency rules, some Nigerians believe that Buba no longer holds as much power as he used to, even as executive governor of the state, especially with the fact that the local government election he conducted was cancelled, and then the sole administrator conducted another local government election, which the APC won widely, which many Nigerians also believe was a handing over of the Rivers State political structure to Wike. Would you genuinely and personally advise Governor Buba to align with the APC, and if so, why?
Let me tell you, Buba is in a quagmire right now, and Buba had been castrated. His return will be predicated on the terms and conditions T&C enunciated by the mediator in this crisis, and either we like it or not, the pendulum tilts towards Wike than Buba. He has been browbeaten. He has been taken through the process of making sure that he doesn't challenge Wike for the period We were told that he was even told that he cannot contest election in 2027. That's how much they have extracted from him. But I'm worried. I'm worried because is it compulsory that you must be a governor?
Wait, what were you expecting? After he was suspended, he should have resigned?
If I were him,
You would resign.
I would resign.
To do what? To safeguard your integrity?
Yes. Because that integrity is trying to protect now will be rubbished.
But wouldn't that have even pushed River State into a deeper quagmire? Because if he leaves, now a lot of people are seeing him as defeated, are seeing him as a governor with no mind of his own. Wouldn't that really have been worse for him?
For me, I still repeat, even right from when he wanted to contest and Wike was allegedly giving him terms and conditions, you have made a mark in that state. I am somebody that believes that if there is chalice in what you are preparing for me that looks like honey, the best bet is for me to just turn my back and leave. Let somebody else who can take chalice come forward and take. Fubara was not a poor person before he became somebody who has been Accountant General of a state for more than 8 years. That one cannot be seen to be poor. Must everybody be in the government house? Now, whatever is arranged is going to be at the detriment of Rivers people. And for the next 1.5 years, we will witness it. We will know that we are entering a phase where the governor would only be battling existential battles rather than governance in that state.
You know, many Nigerians also wonder if the call for Fubara to join the APC is a way to safeguard his political career.
Let me tell you, like it or not, if it goes, of course, it is very, very clear now that the man is on his way to APC.
So you see him joining APC actually?
You see, most of the time when I predict, you want to say, how is it? Fubara will join APC. The last election that was conducted, how many local government did the PDP get? 4. How many from APC? That state was never a traditionally APC state. It has always been PDP, just like Bayelsa, just like Akwa Ibom. I can bet it, if election is to be conducted today in Akwa Ibom, be sure that APC will have a clean sweep of that election. So the point is, there's no way. Who brokered the peace between Wike and Fubara?
You know, even
is it not APC?
Even that peace, the ADC chairman in Rivers State, Leader Samson, is saying that peace is a fragile peace, and there is no true reconciliation between Governor Sim Fubara and FCT Minister Nyesom Wike.
The people that mediated, they didn't mediate for God's sake. They didn't mediate for the welfare and well-being of Rivers people. They mediated with extraction of maximum gain from the governor. So it's a given. That's the truth. It's a given that Fubara will be in APC.
With being in APC would then solidify the peace with Wike.
It's just like you are given an assignment to do. You have to deliver.
You believe that being a member of the APC must have been part of the peace deal?
Of course, I suspect so much about that.
But couldn't he have announced his defection to the APC even while he was in suspension?
No.
The best time to do it would be when he's returning as governor. And then he would be able to, all of those people he had issues with, he'll be able to work with them now.
Then the State House of Assembly, the 27 lawmakers, well, they will also follow suit and decamp to APC. And then effectively, Wike would have done a good job for APC by handing over
in all of this. Why is Wike himself not just genuinely coming out to join the APC once and for all?
Wike is smart. If he's out of APC, if he's out of PDP, how will he know the internal workings of PDP?
If Wike is smart, does that mean that the other people in the PDP are not? For not pushing him out if he doesn't want to go on his own?
Who is that person in PDP today that can muster the kind of resources to stabilize PDP?
When you say resources, do you mean financial, human, or otherwise?
Financial now. No other person can put in 1 billion to fight PDP cause. So they have to move.
All right, then we'll continue to look at the situation and see what comes out of it. But in the meantime, Nigerians are waiting for Governor Simfubara to resume at the government house in Rivers State. Mr. Dele Fanimo, thank you so much for joining me today.
It's always my pleasure.
Always a pleasure to have you here as well. The conversation continues on matters. You have been listening to Voice of the People 90.3 FM. My name is Chioma Innocent. Just before we go, let's take a look at the top stories again. You heard that the United Nations Commission of Inquiry has ruled that Israel committed genocide in Gaza. Gunmen kill Nigerian customs officer, loot food items in Kebbi. PDP warns INEC against BVAS glitches in 2027. And Buba Galadima raises alarm of a planned INEC chairman appointment. That's a wrap on the world news at 12. Please follow our social media handles at VOB903 FM. Good afternoon and thank you for listening. My name is Chioma Innocent. Please stay tuned. The matters will be coming up by 1:30 p.m. with Solomon Ofem.